Often, we feel misunderstood or frustrated in our relationships because of poor communication. Each one of us may have experienced this at least once in a life. Our today's topic is effective communication in relationship. Effective communication is the foundation of any healthy relationship, whether it's your personal or a professional relationship. But it's a skill that many of us struggle with. In this segment, let's explore proven strategies to help you communicate better and deepen your connections with the people who matter most to you. Effective communication is more than just exchanging words, it's about actively listening, expressing yourself clearly, and creating a mutual understanding. That is what is effective communication. It's not just saying words, it's not just listening, or it's not just hearing what the other person is saying. It's so much more than that. When we communicate effectively, we are able to build a stronger bonds, resolve conflicts, and create more fulfilling relationships. But what does this look like in practice? So number one, it always comes to active listening. Most of us normally hear the other person to respond, but as it is said, uh, the secret sauce is to actively listen to what the person wants to say or express, right? So listening to words of the person and the body language and tone of voice, how the person is saying, eye contact, and if you have any question, clarify that. Avoid distractions like looking into mobile or TV. Demonstrate the active listening. Number 2 is clear expression. Now, clearly expressing that someone is not liking something or someone is liking something and why, how does it make them feel, is effective communication. Expressing your thoughts and feelings clearly and concisely without blaming or attacking the other person. We have seen, many of you must have seen the communication tips and all, using I statements to express emotions and needs. Number 3 is empathy and validation. Emphasizing or considering yourself in other person's shoes and validating their feelings, even if you don't agree with them. There are two different things: agreeing and validating that there is a point is effective communication. And actually validating emotions can diffuse tense situations and fostering mutual understanding. The fourth one is non-violent communication. There is a very beautiful book on this topic. One must read this if you're looking for communications skills or the tips. NVC is called. It's called. It is basically, it is focused on expressing your needs and desires without judgment or criticism. And the four components of nonviolent communication is observing, feeling, need, and the request. So you observe what is happening, you express what you are feeling, what is your need, and you can request what you want. Number fifth is overcoming communication barriers. Again, this is a very common topic. Probably everyone would have seen or have come across in your life once, that what are the common barriers to the communication? uh, yes, language, etc., etc., but I think the most biggest barrier to the effective communication is assumption. What we are assuming that the other person wants to say, and the defensiveness, directly going into a defensive mode, like uh, without even letting the other person complete, and the poor timing. You will need your you will get your time to express, but if you interrupt, it's a bad communication, it's a poor communication. And for addressing these barriers, I mean, creating an environment which is conducive to open and honest dialogue is essential. Let's see a scenario here, and the example of how the communication is poor or good. So during a discussion about household responsibilities, one partner is expressing their frustration. Now, what is poor communication? What are some red flags in the communication? Interrupting. One partner interrupts the other while they are speaking, saying, "You always do this. You never help around the house." This approach is accusatory and dismissive, leading to defensiveness. Number 2 is defensiveness. When the other person tries to explain their perspective, they respond with, "I'm too busy with work to deal with this right now." This shuts down the conversation and avoids addressing the issue. Another red flag is silent treatment. After the argument, one partner gives the silent treatment, refusing to engage or discuss the matter further. This behavior creates emotional distance and unresolved tension. Now, let's see an example of effective communication. So, the same scenario, same discussion about the household responsibility occurs, but this time with the effective communication strategies. So let's see. So, active listening comes into this thing. One partner says, "I feel overwhelmed with my workload, and I would like to hear your thoughts on how we can share responsibilities better." Now, what is happening? This opens the floor for dialogue and shows a willingness to listen. Using I statements, the other partner responds, "I feel frustrated when I see dishes piling up because it makes me feel like I am handling everything alone. Can we come up with a plan together?" Now, again, this expression focuses on feelings rather than blaming and fostering the understanding. Collaborative problem solving strategy. Now, both partners discuss their schedules and agree on a fair division of chores, ensuring both feel heard and valued. Now, they might say, "Let's set aside some time this weekend to tackle the course together." So, problem is solved. Now, in first scenario, poor communication leads to misunderstanding, defensiveness, and emotional withdrawal. In contrast, the second scenario demonstrates how effective communication through active listening, expressing feelings without blame, and collaborative problem-solving strategies can strengthen the relationship. Some self-coaching questions for today. What are some areas where you struggle with communication in your relationship? How can you practice active listening and express yourself more clearly? What are some common communication barriers you encounter and how can you overcome them? Effective communication is the key to building stronger, more fulfilling relationships. By mastering the skills discussed in this episode, you can definitely deepen your connections with the people who matter most to you. And if you are ready to take your relationships to the next level, Stay tuned for more practical tips and inspiring stories in this week. And thank you for joining me today. If you found this episode useful, like it and share it with someone who can make good use of it.